Okay. Hello.
Hi everyone, welcome.
Yay. Yes. Wow, business activities. How exciting.
Yeah,
So for anyone that will join us, Sean and I will introduce ourselves. It will be great if you also introduce yourselves. But please be aware that there is a slight delay between when we see your comments, but also between Sean and myself. So maybe there will be some pauses. Maybe there will be some overlaps. I don't know. How exciting.
yeah. I'm sure you
So
learn
Sean,
anyway. Be understanding.
hmm,
Yeah, I'll
yes,
introduce myself, will I?
perfect.
My name is Sean. I am Irish. I come from Ireland. I'm 21 years old, and I have lived in since September, and I work in the school on Via Meravigli with the lovely Jadine.
Yes, hello. So I'm Jadine. I'm from England, which is very close to where Sean is from in Ireland, but our accents are very different. English accents are so different. It's crazy. Um, and I have been in Milan since October, but I only started working at Maes 1 month ago in this really,
Yeah,
really interesting time. So
yeah.
yes, I can see two of you are viewing. So please feel free to introduce yourselves. It's lovely to meet you. And also, if you have any questions throughout the activity, or if you want to answer any of our questions, you are also able to. Yay! Okay, so we have Marco from Rome and Sarah from Milan. Do you know Sarah,
Mm.
Sean? Is she
The
from our
problem,
school?
she could be. The problem for me in this format is that I'm better with faces than names. So maybe I know Sarah. I'd have
Oh,
to see her face. Because I do actually work in two schools in Milan. I sometimes work in the school on Via Montenero and sometimes in Via Meravigli, and the other is on Via Fabio
oh,
Filzi. So let us know, which of the three schools are you from, Sarah?
yes. Okay, cool. And then we can start today's webinar, which is all about business. She does not know you.
Oh dear.
But tell us, you will now. So, um, okay. So yes, it's all about networking. Um,
Mm,
how exciting. So what is networking, Sean? Or anyone? Everyone? I think Sean is a little bit frozen. What does networking mean?
networking. Networking is creating contacts, getting to know people that will help you move in your career.
Exactly. Okay, that was a really lovely, lovely definition. Um, so in this business activity, and of course, this is great if any, it's useful, I think, for any type of business, but especially if in your job, you work internationally or you have to speak in English, this is a really useful lesson webinar. So in this business activity, we will be breaking the ice, which we'll talk about in a second, looking at essential small talk, questions and answers, and asking about business.
Mhm.
So, um, maybe I will read the questions and Sean can answer, but also Marco, Sarah, these questions are for you. as well. So please type in the comments if you have a response. So, Sean,
Yes.
when you meet someone in a work environment for the first time, do you immediately talk about business or work?
No, I don't think so. I think it's a bit intense, a bit full on to do that. You have to get to know them first. You have to introduce yourself, ask them some questions about where they're from, their background, things like that. Yeah. How about you?
Um, Probably I am the same, but I think maybe in Sean and I's career, networking in teaching is very different to networking in corporate environments. I've worked in corporate environments, but I am someone who likes to have friends at work, which is
Okay.
why I would not talk about business. I would ask questions about the person. But maybe if you are someone who does not really want friends at work, they want to come to work to do their jobs, as a lot of people seem to.
I
Fair
can't
enough.
relate.
Then maybe, yeah, maybe it's not terrible to talk about work. What do you do? How is your job going if you're new?
Hmm.
Something like this.
Yes. Do you
Um,
remember
so then,
what I said to you when we first met? I don't. I think I
no,
probably
I
asked
don't
you
either.
I probably asked you where you come from because in our job everyone comes from different places. So that's the first question
That's
always.
true. That is true. Actually, I don't think you asked me any questions, but when Sean and I first met, we had to give a webinar together immediately. It was immediate.
Yeah.
So I think you made a comment about webinars.
Oh, straight to business. A very positive comment
I
about
think
webinar.
so. Oh, I'm sure it was very positive. I think he just said, "Oh, I love webinars so much.
Yes,
You'll enjoy it,
as
JD."
I often say. Anyway.
To be honest, to be fair, sorry, webinars are not bad. We do like them. I like them, but it's a different experience
Yes,
to seeing students in real life, which is
yeah,
why we love when you interact with us.
we have to, we have to do something, I suppose, because we can't have classes in person. That would be a very bad idea. And yeah, I mean, if I wasn't doing the webinars, I think I would be very at a loss for things to do. And it's also, you do connect with people in the comments. So please do send in comments.
It's true. Yes, and it's really nice as well. I think getting to speak to students, not just from Milan, yeah, to just see their progression and their experience, etc. But anyway, question two, and again, a question for everybody. In which situations do you make small talk, when and where? But maybe first we'll just give a quick explanation of what small talk is.
Hmm. Yeah, so small talk is, I would say, something small conversations, uncontroversial with people you don't know very well, about things that everyone has in common. Like maybe the weather is a classic example, food, family, what's new in your life, just little conversations, not very meaningful, really.
Exactly. And I like that you said non-controversial, because that's very true. In small talk, you never you never bring up a conversation that could cause a big debate. This leaves small talk. This is a different type of conversation completely. Um, so, in which situations, and this can be for work or outside of work, But which situations would you make small talk?
I think the classic one is when you're in the lift or in the elevator with someone and there's an awkward silence. I think very often any situation where it could be awkward just sitting beside each other saying nothing, you tend to find something to chat about.
Sorry, so fantastic. I've seen some comments have come in. So Marco says, I make small talk when I don't know very well the person. So we would just flip it. I don't know the person very well. And I'm forced to say something because perhaps we're in the same place and it's embarrassing to stay silent. That's perfect. Oh, and like you, Sean, it happens in small places like the elevator. Yes. Okay. And Sarah says, I make small talk, and we'd say in the coffee break, if you're talking about the period of time that people have coffee. So in the coffee break. But yeah, this is true. So when you don't have a lot of time to have a long conversation, sometimes we just make some small talk. There is no point talking about my deep emotions if we only have 5 minutes and then I have to go to work.
Yeah.
And also, I think maybe we make small talk with people that we see often but do not know very well. Maybe if you always go to the same bar or you always go to the same grocery shop and you see this person maybe every week, you make some small talk.
Yes, your acquaintances.
Yes, I like that word. So an acquaintance is someone that you know, but you wouldn't say that you were friends. You've not reached friendship. So finally, what kind of topics do you discuss? So Sean mentioned some quite useful ones. I think you said family and the weather.
Mhm. Yeah, I think
But
small things that are happening in your life, nothing major, very personal, but things like, I don't know, my son has started school, that kind of thing is good for small talk.
yeah, no, it's true. But I wonder if it's different in Italy, if the kind of conversations are different. Because definitely in England, we're very, and I think it's like a joke in Europe that British people are very closed and very cold. So maybe in Italy, small talk is a lot more personal. I'm not sure. It would be interesting to know.
Yeah.
What is it like in Ireland? Are people
Um,
friendlier?
yeah, I think a little bit, and I think people do talk. Strangers will have a conversation on public transport, and those kind of situations where I'm not sure you would in the UK. And
In
also,
London, no.
also we tend to categorize, strangely enough, kind of death and tragedy within the small talk genre of conversation in a way that other countries
What do
don't.
you mean?
I mean that a big topic is who has died, who is sick, talking about these kind of things with people you
Oh,
don't really know. Yeah, it's a huge thing. There's a website in Ireland called rip.ie where you can look up any name and see if they're dead. And we're very into death.
wow.
And I think similarly,
Okay.
Italians would talk about food for small talk in a way that I don't think we would.
Maybe you're right. Maybe you're right. But yeah, the death, that's very interesting. It could be because Ireland is traditionally quite Catholic, at least if you're from the Republic, and
Yeah,
then more Protestant if you're from Northern Ireland. So they've got very important There's like a high importance, I think, for religion. Maybe a bit
Yeah.
more so than.
Mm.
So Sarah says, yes, it's true. British people are cold. Thank you.
No, I wouldn't. In my experience, Londoners are quite cordial, quite likable people. I think, I don't know, if you
We're
go
just
further,
shy.
if you go further north, they're a bit colder, I think.
Do you? Actually, I think it's the opposite. Usually they say if you're from a city, you're very close, probably because in the cities it's more like business, you know.
Yeah.
Whereas in the countryside, there's more of a family orientation and talk to your neighbors. I don't know. Marco says, if you don't know what to say, apart from, we always say apart from something. The weather, food is always perfect. As an argument, even when you're eating. That's really funny. I do think that instead of argument, maybe you mean as a topic, because an argument is when two people have a conflicting opinion, and usually it's a bit negative. Not all the time, but argument is a bit of a negative word. So maybe it's the perfect topic. Like that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So here we have a task. When do you meet people while working? And you have to match the activity to the pictures. If you can, the pictures are quite small, so you can try. And maybe Sean will read the words so you can hear the pronunciation.
Yes. So, conference call, golf, meeting, job interview, fair, business dinner.
Okay. And I think as well, maybe there's just while we wait, there's not really so much to say. But you can listen to the pronunciation of a few words that are maybe not so clear by the way they're written. For example, conference. When I pronounce it anyway, and I think for you, only has 2 syllables. Conference. So the first E is, and the last E as well, we don't really say. So we don't say conference, we say conference. Also business. And again, maybe it's just my accent, but the U and the I sound exactly the same.
Business.
Do we even pronounce the I? Oh no, it's only 2 syllables as well. So the U sounds like an I. It's a crazy word. Business.
Yeah. Something
business.
that people from my part of the world do, which people in the UK tend to make fun of. I don't do it, but they would actually pronounce all of these things. So they would say the conference call and the business dinner. So, but that would be a very heavy accent, and in more neutral English, you would say business.
That's true. I always think the main thing with pronunciation, but this again is for me personally, but for people who are learning English, if you feel more comfortable to pronounce all the letters and it sounds basically right, for example, if you said conference or business, is fine because I can understand you and you're learning English. But I think the main point with pronunciation is just being aware that native speakers will say it a different way. Because I think with a lot of English learners, they can express themselves well, but then they struggle to understand, maybe because you're not aware of the pronunciation. If it's a word that you know, but someone is saying it differently, it can cause a problem.
Yeah, definitely. English is unfortunately a language where you have to make a big distinction between the spoken and written versions. Unfortunately, it's the case.
Yes. Okay. So Marco has given us some answers. Great. So he says A is a fair. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no. No, it's done it this horror. Okay. I don't know who designed this, but okay. So conference call. It wasn't you, was it, Sean? I'm very
No,
embarrassed.
no, 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 it wasn't me.
Okay. So conference call is F. Yes, I'm sure you have been doing a lot of these in this period of time. Then golf is E. Yes. And then meeting is C. Fantastic. Job interview is D.
Mm-hmm.
Fair is A, and a business dinner, which you can kind of see some glasses of wine, is B. So well done, Marco.
Mm-hmm.
And just if you don't have any questions, I guess it's fine. But I think just to go over what a fair is, because fair can mean two very different words. In English, every word can mean at least two very different words. So if we say something is fair, we mean something is equal or just. But a fair, so that's the adjective, but the noun fair is for an event like you can see in the picture. And usually there are lots of small stalls, and it's all on a topic. So for business, there could be a jobs fair where lots of different stalls are there from different industries to present what they do and try to get job applicants. There can be university fairs where someone is there to represent different universities, so you can ask questions. Exactly, Sarah. It's like an Is it exhibition?
You have
Exposition.
exposition, which, if you're talking about art, it's always an exhibition. But if you're talking about business, it can be an exposition.
Yes. So an exhibition is like where you show something, like Sean said, like art. And I can't spell the other word because we're just so used to saying exposition.
Exposition, maybe, I guess. Exposition.
So yeah. Yeah, but this is what you get them in Italy all the time for food. So in Milan, there is a big one every year in Fiera,
Yes, Fiera, the
where
Italian for
different
fair.
yes, where different stalls are there for food all over Italy and the world. So this is what we can call a fair. Okay. So now we have breaking the ice. Oh, look, you've described it so much better than me. Yes, where there are various stands to promote and to sell. Yeah. Excellent. Okay, so Sean, what does breaking the ice mean?
Yes, so breaking the ice is to get to know each other, to break that kind of silent tension we were talking about earlier, and start a conversation, make some small talk. But generally, at the beginning of meeting and knowing someone is introduction.
No. I'm all frozen. Can you hear me? Am I
Yeah,
here?
I can hear you.
Okay. Sorry, because earlier I just got completely kicked out and my laptop
Yeah.
was doing the same thing that is happening now. So I'm
Okay.
very scared.
Okay.
Yeah. I was just trying to put in the comment. Oh yeah, it worked. Stall and stand is the same word.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
So then again, this is for everyone. So think about the last time you met someone in a work environment. Besides simple introductions, so hi, what's your name, where are you from? How did you break the ice in the conversation?
Mm.
So how did you make the conversation comfortable?
Yeah.
What happened, guys? What happened, Sean? Was I the last person that you met in a work environment? Who did you meet before me?
Well, there was when I started, certainly there's a lot of meeting people back in September, and I'm actually very bad at first impressions. After a few times getting to know people, I think I'm a bit better, but I mean, I probably spoke about just I mean, the weather is a good one. I think when I came in September, it was very sunny, it was very hot. So I was saying, oh, this is unusual for me, things like that. And people say, oh, yes, for me as well at the beginning. And you kind of have a moment of bonding about that.
Oh, that's nice. So you describe yourself, because I would describe myself as a slow burner, and this is just some other vocabulary for you guys. So someone who maybe after some time people start to like you, but at first they think, who is this person? Okay. And now I'm sure that it's Sean that is frozen and not me. So while we wait for him to come back, if he's back, yay, I see movement. Sarah has said, I'm very shy, but every time I try to start with, so is this your first time here? Interesting. Where do you work, Sarah?
Did you
Because
ask
maybe
me a
this
question,
is
Nadine?
yeah, I did before. I
Okay,
said, do you
forget
think that
about it.
you're a slow burner?
Yes, let's move on.
Oh, okay. But yeah, because maybe Sarah, that could be a really nice way to break the ice with someone, but it depends on what your job is. Because maybe I could say this to one of my students. So, is it your first time here to a student? But it would be a bit strange for me to say it to another teacher, because probably the answer is no. Once you start working somewhere, you go there the first time and then you are there every other day after. And Marco, this is very American, I think. Some weather we're having, aren't we? But I like that. Oh, is it a common phrase? Remember, in a question, we put the verb is before the subject, it. And what does it mean? Okay. Would you like to take this, Sean?
It doesn't really mean anything, I don't think. This is the thing about small talk. It could be any kind of weather. I think it may be unusual, either very hot or very cold. It could be very good or very bad. It's just some weather. It's unusual or exceptional.
Yeah.
Some weather we're having. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the Irish version of this is to sarcastically say, "Oh, it's a beautiful day, isn't it?" when it's not.
Yeah, no, it's true. I like that. So some weather, maybe if it's just been really sunny recently and everyone enjoys it, you can say, "Oh, it's some weather that we're having," and then "aren't we?" is a question tag to ask, "Do you agree?" And if you agree, you say, "Oh yeah, it's great." Or if it's been really rainy, you can say, "Oh, some weather." And yeah, I agree. English as well. Intonation is you can say anything if you say it in the right in the right tone. Okay. And Sarah works in probably in an architect's studio or an architecture studio. Because don't forget, we don't usually say something of something. We usually use a possessive. So in an architect's studio or an architecture studio, if the studio is for the business of architecture, not if it is owned by an architect. But often I meet new people in other studios. Oh, that's nice. That's nice. So okay, yeah. Then I think it's a fine thing to say to someone. Oh, do you come here a lot?
Mhm.
Okay. Sean, do you want to take this slide? Oh no, he's gone. Okay, so I will take this slide while we wait for him to return. No problem. And also, sometimes I speak a bit quickly, so if there's anything that you're not sure about or want me to repeat, then just ask and I'll try to say it better. So here we have some examples of icebreakers. And again, you can put in the comments if you would use any of these, if you have used any of these, and when it was appropriate. So we have, excuse me, do you have the time? So is this your first time here, which we know Sarah uses? What brings you to, and then this bar, this library, this place? Some weather we're having, aren't we? Have you heard about something? I love your shoes. Where did you get them? And how's business? Are you having a good year? Hi, Sean.
Hi, sorry, my connection is. Just ignore me. I'll participate when I can.
Okay. But yeah, maybe we can just choose 3 of these to talk about and then move on. And again, guys, if there are any of these that you've used or you like, just tell us. For me, I like, or what would I use? I don't know. I don't know if I'd use any of these. Excuse me, do you have the time? I think you have to be really bold if you can create a conversation after this. For me, this is just an exchange. Do you have the time? Oh, thank you.
The perfect way to continue that conversation is to say, "Oh, it's that time already." I mean, and it's meaningless because, of course, it is. But people, you say, "Oh, yeah, the day's going fast for me too." It's just the way things are done.
Like that. It's just the way. It's the way. Okay. Would you use any of these other ones then?
One that I 100% do is, "I love your shoes. Where did you get them?" A compliment.
I knew you were gonna say that one.
And I might,
compliment.
I
But
don't,
do you get?
I don't always mean it, but it's a way to
I
relate
was
to
just
someone
gonna ask.
if you have nothing
You
else to
give
say. What?
you give fake compliments. Terrible.
Well,
Now I have
no,
to be on the lookout. If you
it's
give compliments, I'll be like,
it's
no.
it's never an outright lie. It's just that you look at someone, you think, what's the best thing that they're wearing, or do they look better than usual? And then you go with that. It's not that you notice it right away, it's just that you're looking for something to compliment.
But sometimes it can be awkward if there are a lot of things you like and you can't compliment everything because then it borders on seeming fake. Marco says, I wouldn't use any of these. Well, if you've got something better, Marco, I would like to hear it. Okay. Sorry, and I know it's a bit rude that I'm now just flicking through. But okay. Okay. So here we have, is this the next slide? Yes.
Yeah.
Case study, Mortensen and Mortensen. And if you've done any of these business webinars before, you know that there is always a case study. So Sean,
Sure.
if you don't count again. Thank you.
I'll have a read through this. Mortensen and Mortensen are a leading consultancy group that specialize in maximizing the marketing scope of food products. While attending a research seminar, co-founder Roger Mortensen has arranged a dinner meeting via email with the marketing office of Biofoods startup and will meet with them for the first time. What are the benefits of attending fairs and seminars? How does meeting people differ in this context?
Okay, so these questions, you guys, again, are welcome to answer. But just before we do, maybe Sean and I can talk through some vocabulary that might be a bit new for you. So the first one is we have the words leading consultancy group. So a consultant, and I'm sure you know this one, a consultancy is type of business essentially that gives you advice on how to do the best possible. So if you were a consultancy for teaching English, someone would tell us as teachers the best way to get our students to learn. But this adjective is an adjective, leading.
Yeah.
I think so. This just says that this consultancy group is really good. If you are described as leading in an industry, then it means you're one of the best. So you're doing very well. And then we have in red, attending a research seminar. So what can we say about this?
Yeah, I think a seminar is kind of sort of a kind of a class setting, a learning setting, where you're probably discussing figures or statistics or something like this, a seminar. Definitely not just a meeting or a fair. There's kind of a particular objective or particular subject.
Yeah. And probably then someone is leading it as well. So someone is in charge, like Sean said, it's not a meeting where everyone is equal. There's someone there to talk or explain something to you. And then we know what a dinner meeting is from the last slide. Okay. And then it says, sorry, the screen is really small. Okay. So it then says that they have organized a dinner meeting and will meet for the first time. So maybe we can start with the second question. How does meeting people differ in this context? So there are two kind of contexts. The first one is that they are at a research seminar. So you're meeting people there. And the second is that they are having a dinner meeting, but they have not met before. So I would say in the first one, the research seminar is very friendly. You've got many different people coming from different places, like in a fair, all to learn about a topic. So I think here you can do lots of networking, lots of small talk. You can ask about business, but you don't have to. You can be there for you. Whereas for a dinner meeting where you meet someone for the first time, Sean, do you think it's appropriate to use small talk in this situation?
Yeah, definitely. I think so, especially if it's the first time, if you're establishing a relationship with someone. I think there's a combination of business and small talk, definitely, because if it's all small talk, you won't come across as a very serious person.
Yeah. I think that's fair. So if you are in an environment where there are lots of new people and is short term, like a fair, like a seminar, then if you want, can only use small talk. You are just there, for you can network. But if you're at a business meeting, then it's nice to have some small talk to make the environment a bit lighter, but not too much, because if there's too much small talk, like Sean said, you can look not serious enough, which can be dangerous for business. And then for what are the benefits of attending fairs and seminars exactly? So Sarah says they give you the opportunity to promote new products or our society. That's really nice. But don't forget, if we talk about something generally, we always use the plural. So new products. And then they also help you, and this is interesting. So we can say they also help you make contacts, which a contact is someone that you know or you meet in an industry and can use for work later, or they can help you network. So network is a verb. So they can help you network. Okay. So is there anything you want to add, Sean?
No. I mean, you're speaking very well. You said that you have worked in a corporate environment before. I certainly haven't. What kind of corporate environment?
I used to be a temp. So for anyone who doesn't know, a temp is someone, it's short for temporary, who through an agency goes to lots of different businesses. And it's nice because they give you a lot of money. You get paid more than if you just work there. And also you get to see lots of different industries. So I have worked in banks, I have worked in charities, I have worked in like an ombudsman, which is someone who offers advice on helplines. Yes. But also the contracts, they can be long, so they can be a year or 2 years, but they can also be shorter, like a week or 3 weeks, so it can be tiring as well. But definitely temping, moving around lots of different industries, you make a lot of small talk, because sometimes it's not worth trying to meet everyone you work with if you know next month I will work somewhere else.
Yeah, I guess networking is completely different.
Okay. So here, and I have to check. Okay. Here we have a little dialogue of some small talk that can happen. I think this is happening at that business meeting.
Yeah.
Mortensen. Yes. Okay. So we are now at the business meeting, and we're going to look at how small talk can be appropriate and can be used. So would you like to be Roger or Karen?
I'll be Roger. So, Karen, I'm Roger. It's a pleasure to finally meet you.
Roger, the pleasure is all mine. Thanks for arranging this.
Is this your first time here?
At this seminar, no. I go every year. At this restaurant, yes. It's so lovely.
It really is. So, have you heard about BioNow's new product line?
Yes, I have. Our competition is really exploding lately.
What about you? How's business? Are you having a good year?
Oh, certainly. It really couldn't be better. Thanks for asking. Oh, forgive me. Have you met my colleague James?
Yes, we met last year. Good to see you again, James. Shall we take a seat?
Okay, so then we have the task, which again we'll talk through just before we wrap up the lesson. So find useful expressions for small talk and ice breaking. So imagine this situation is right before they have gone to sit down to start the business meeting. So if you meet someone for the first time, you don't just want to say, please work with me, please give me money, please fund me. It's not nice, it's rude. And also you have to look a bit like you don't need any help, because that makes your business appealing. So small talk is a nice way to make a relaxed situation and to not look desperate in business.
Yeah.
So, yes, exactly. So Marco has said, is it your first time here? Exactly. So talking about something they both have in common. If it's her first time, he can say, oh, me too. If it's not her first time, he could ask her some more questions about it if he wanted. Also, how's business? Yes, because this is like an opening for conversation, but it's not too deep. So you can just mention, oh, it's gone well, or oh, it's been a hard year. Do you see any more, Sean?
Yeah, I mean, one thing is talking about the restaurant. It's so lovely, contextual, small talk. But yeah, I think how's business? Are you having a good year?
Yeah. So I just want to say one other thing, and if you have any final questions, guys, then let us know now. But you can see the modal verbs that they use in this text. For example, maybe there's just one. Maybe it's just shall.
Yeah.
But shall, and also in this situation, maybe instead of using will, we would use the modal verb would. Instead of using can, we would use the modal verb could. And we use these modal verbs if we want to be more polite.
Yeah.
So this is just a tip.
Yeah, the problem with English is we don't have a polite person like in Italian with lei or French with vous. So we have to come up with other interesting ways to be polite.
Exactly. So yeah, just by using these modals, again, it depends on what you're trying to say. Because if you, maybe you want something different, but I think it's kind of generally known throughout English that these modal verbs are our polite modals. So would you like to sit down? Could we talk about this thing? Is much nicer, much more polite, and definitely in a business environment, much better to use than can we do this? Will you do this for me?
Mm-hmm. And never ever use imperatives, certainly. That's the worst thing you could do.
Yes. Okay. So if you guys have any questions, ask them now, and just quickly in a summary. So we looked at some language we can use for different places that we can network. We didn't really talk about golf, but golf is very specific. But imagine, imagine kind of any work retreat or bonding day. Sometimes companies or business take employees to somewhere for like a fun day, but it gives people a chance to talk about business in an informal environment. We then spoke about breaking the ice and looked at some phrases to break the ice or begin small talk. And we have seen an example scenario of how we can use small talk. And yeah, we've just spoken a bit about when it's appropriate and yeah, when it's less appropriate. Is there anything you want to add?
No, just thank you to Marco and Sarah for listening to us and for participating.
Definitely. Thank you so much, guys. It's been a pleasure. Bye.
Bye bye.